Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching the first episode of Joke Ruiners. I'm your host, Kruger Dunn. I've been a stand-up comedian for about 13 years. And the one thing I've learned over the years is to make a joke really funny, explain it. Just explain all the grueling details, and then everyone will laugh. Obviously, that's how you ruin a joke. So I've asked my buddy here, Justin Matson, who is also a very funny comedian, to help me break down some of his favorite clips, as well as some of his old clips, which I appreciate him doing because every comedian knows it's torture. So Justin Matson, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Kruger.
Yeah.
Justin Matson, yeah. I'm from San Diego. I'm an Aquarius. Yeah, I'm excited to do this. I like the idea of looking at old clips. Like when I was trying to pick a clip to choose for the show, it was like a walk down memory lane. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how some of my early stuff and some of my later stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to walk and talk about my ruin a joke. Let's get into it.
And I also mentioned, since Justin's being humble, he's toured all over the world. I did Edinburgh Fringe Festival, Adelaide in Australia Festival. Mm-hmm. He has a comedy special that I directed, so a little bit of a humble plug, called Fatter Than You Think. That's very funny. You get it at justinmatson.com or on YouTube. Just search. Don't leave this video. Watch this video. Click subscribe, click like, become a mega fan of Full Dork. Then go watch Fatter Than You Think. Oh, he looks like he's getting on a player.
I should have planned that better.
Yeah. Look at that beautiful face.
Yeah, I have a whole box of CDs that I've bought 300 and I've sold a couple.
Yeah, I've seen you style. Yeah. Look at this. This is already his theme. He's going to be overly humble. Fatter Than You Think. Very great album. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to jump into the clip here. And I didn't say, the idea is so that comics can learn from us. Less experienced comics can learn some of the structure, some rules of comedy, learn from our experiences, so they don't have to bomb for 8 years or whatever. That was what, for me, different people, different time. And then also for more experienced comics to think along, maybe think we're idiots. Feel free to comment if you found somewhere we screwed it up. I know a lot of my comedian friends will end up watching this. Okay, so.
Yeah. And for rich headliners to let me open for them. That's the other
yes,
goal.
He's booked Justin for whatever. He also is very good at corporate comedy.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. I do corporate.
Your office parties coming up.
And I don't always wear the hat if I'm going corporate. I get very professional. I can get a tie, whatever you need. If you.
Okay, so let's jump into our first clip here, which Justin has selected. It is comedian Wendy Liebman from The Tonight Show in 1991. So we're going a 29-year throwback here to how comedy used to be.
You might even say the golden age of comedy.
You could, depending on your opinion.
It was definitely a comedy boom. I don't know if it's the golden age, but this was probably a little earlier than I grew up on, but I grew up on like 90s, like Comedy Central, Premium Blend, like that kind of comedy. So Wendy Liebman, I did not really know of growing up. I might have watched some of her stuff, but she wasn't really in my mind. But when I was doing comedy, after a couple years, I took a stand-up class, and the teacher, J.F. Sweedler at the Comic Strip in New York.
Free plug.
Yeah.
And that's money, J.F. Sweedler.
Yeah. Check out classes. Click. Use promo code Justin Matson, and no, that doesn't. That's not a thing. But it was a fun class, and he said, "Oh, your styles reminds me of Wendy Liebman," and so I checked out her stuff, and there was definitely I just kind of naturally did that sort of style, which was one-liners with misdirects and kind of leading into the next sentence. And so after I watched her stuff, I was like, oh, well, she does it like very structured and successfully. And so like it kind of got me into studying more about her. I was like, oh, wow. And I really like her stuff. And I've seen her live a couple times since then. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. Just give me a wave or say stop if you want me to stop so you can talk about a part of the video.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. Here we go. You know what?
The country.
Love Johnny
very
Carson.
First appearance on network
So
television.
let's just go ahead and skip to Wendy.
Wendy.
Stop. I don't even.
Quick stop.
Do they even open the curtains for you anymore? Can we talk about this? All right. So it used to be like late night sets made your career. You get one spot, and all of a sudden, like the rest of your life, you just get like, oh, right this way. You could stay with us free at the Hilton. And then like they open the curtains for you. Like nowadays, it's like maybe you get a Conan spot, and like I don't know.
Hey, idiot, get out there, do your jokes, monkey.
Yeah, you gotta like the first half of your set is just trying to find the stage. There's too many curtains. They fired the PAs who used to do it for you. Anyways, okay, we can start.
Hi, it's great to be here. I'm in a great mood because when I walked in, some guy thought I was Ruth Buzzy, and I don't know who she is.
Yeah, that's really funny to me because I was considering pausing to explain that people won't know who Ruth Buzzy is. I know who it is just because my dad was obsessed with her and my uncle. She was the comedian who was on the show Laugh-In back in like the 50s or 60s.
Oh yeah, I wasn't really familiar with her. Like I actually Googled her after this, and I was like, oh, and I think I vaguely remember seeing her somewhere. But like she does kind of look like
and she does one-liner jokes, so it makes sense.
Good. It's kind of a classic joke where it's like, I look like blank, Yeah,
almost. I have one of those. Almost everyone has one. You try and find a twist on it because every agent or manager will tell you, like, kind of comment on your look. I know you used to have one. I don't know if you do it in the set we're going to see. I'm going to play it.
I think I do in the first one.
She pretty? Maybe I should have kicked him out of my stall. Actually,
all right, stop.
That happens.
So I think her strength, like, I mean, a lot of comedians do this, but I feel like she kind of perfected it and made it like her signature thing. And so she's kind of like the queen of this style, which is like she'll have a punchline and then people will laugh, and then you think she's moving on to the next joke, but she'll throw in a tag that's like adds another layer or misdirect. And sometimes she'll add 2 or 3 or 4 tags to the same punchline, and it's just like one word or 3 words. It's very short and punchy, and she really like gets the most out of it. And you're constantly like ping-ponging back and forth between like your expectations. So she's really good at that.
Yeah, and to get into some of the lingo, comedian lingo. I need a sound effect for that. Comedian lingo. That would normally, for most comedians, we'd call that a throwaway joke, which is kind of like a joke under your breath, transitioning to the next, either just to keep rhythm or you thought it was funny. So even though it doesn't work, you want to keep it in your act, and it might get chuckles from a quarter of the crowd. Whereas she tends to put strong jokes in that throwaway spot. So you'll almost hear the audience catching up later, which is I think what makes her style more unique from a different one-liner comedian, maybe like a Mitch Hedberg or a Stephen Wright, where they'll wait for you to get the joke. She just moves right along.
Yeah, she like throws it, and I was really excited to get the zinger and
do it.
And to a 3-pointer. It's a sports reference, and so she doesn't throw it in the trash. She throws it in the net and gets a point because it's
a throw it in joke instead of throw away joke. Yeah.
And so it's a strong joke, and it's also one thing So especially starting off, I was very soft-spoken on stage. Like that's kind of my style. Like I'm not an aggressive, in-your-face, like command the stage comedian. I'm kind of, I was kind of witty and like more like quiet. And sometimes I would go down on my punchlines. Like it wasn't always effective. Sometimes like it kind of sabotaged the punchline. But I would. What's the word, like say the punchline in a down tone and kind of drift into the next sentence.
And you wouldn't commit to it?
I think she does it successfully. So it's not that she's.
Oh, gotcha.
Like I feel like it's more of a style than a negative thing. Like
Gotcha.
I feel like it's more just like, hey, I'm a good writer. I have funny punchlines, but you're gonna have to like find them. Like she's kind of like giving you little nuggets to carve out. You know,
make you work for it.
Yeah, and if you're laughing, you might laugh over one of the punchlines or something. And I don't know. I respect that it's like having confidence of like, yeah, it's a great joke, and you know, if they don't get it, then they don't get it. It's on them. You know, I don't know. I think there's something cool about that.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna begin.
I know people mistake me for like Liza Minnelli, Sandy Duncan, Prince, Alf, Oprah. The other day, this man was like pointing to me. He was like, "Lady Di."
So she did that. So she obviously like the classic three item structure of like 3 examples, and the third one's a joke one. But then she said a fourth one, a throwaway like Oprah, which is, you know, kind of.
That might have even been the 5th.
Oh well, I mean, I guess if you talked about Buzzy beforehand, but
no, I think just now, didn't she? I wasn't planning on going back, but I'm gonna jump back.
It was 3.
That happens to me all the time, though. People mistake me for like Liza Minnelli, Sandy Duncan, Prince.
So there's the third joke one, then Alf. Then Oprah's the 5th one.
Oprah. The other day, this man, he was like pointing to me. He was like, "Lady Di." I said, "Me? No." Then I found out he was just telling me what to do. Thanks for getting that. I'm too young to know. I'm only 29, and I found.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there because I was like, "That's actually a really easy joke." I'm surprised it got applause. But then she says, "Thanks for getting that," which is amazing. Like all the times that even that joke she's had not land in a bar show or on the road. She's referencing like, "Oh, thank you. You got the easy one." She's almost making fun of her own joke.
Well, I like. I think a lot of comics have that one joke that is for them, you know, and so like only certain crowds get it, but you still leave it in the set because you don't want to make it so mainstream and bland that like you don't have fun doing the jokes. So like, you know, it was obviously important to her, and it gets laugh a lot. Like you got to laugh there and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I heard a great quote about that, and I wish I could remember who said it. Some famous comedian said it. He said that your act should always be like sushi, where 10% of the people don't like it. They hate it. But 90% of people love it.
Oh.
But you got to make sure there's those 10% people like, "Ooh, no, that's not how comedy's done." Because that means you're doing something different and new.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Here we go.
Now, my first gray hair today. I'm so upset about it because it was on my chest.
He's waiting to deliver the talk.
It's just a joke. I'm 30, but I love this job. I love this job because I used to be a secretary. I hated that. I used to call in sick a lot. I said I had female problems, right? Little did my boss know I was talking about her. She was the problem. Now.
So one thing, like, you know, obviously this is a late night set, so it might be a little different from like a typical set, but she gets so many applause breaks and like, you know, I feel like it's kind of built into the rhythm and structure of her jokes, you know, like because she'll have a punchline, they'll laugh, maybe start to applaud, and then like the throwaway joke will like set up another applause, and like she's really good at getting those applause breaks. It's kind of
and I don't know
other comics.
I am familiar with Wendy Liebman, but I haven't seen this particular set. And did she invent this style? Because I feel like Nikki Glaser, Amy Schumer, like I feel like see a lot of female comedians do that. And they kind of look down like they're thinking while they're waiting for the applause break. Yeah, I don't really see a lot of men do it.
I definitely remember like watching some of Amy Schumer's early stuff, and she does it a lot too. I think, I mean, again, like, I mean, not to like generalize, but like, you know, I feel like a lot of, well, I mean, I won't say all male comics, but a lot of comics in general are like more commanding of the stage and in your face and like aggressive.
I mean, we're not.
What's
So
that?
just for people at home getting offended right now, I'm not like that. Justin's not really
Yeah,
like that. We're just he's just saying what we see around at other shows.
Yeah, I feel like I guess I can probably name a few quieter comedians, but like, yeah, I think like if you put Wendy Liebman in a lineup, she definitely stands out from the other typical acts. I bet she would probably have a very different style than most of them.
Well, what I'm saying is people watching now, because this clip is 30 years old.
Yeah.
So people don't realize, I don't think anyone else really did. Now they're like, oh yeah, that's like the standard. You say and pause while people laugh.
Yeah,
I can't really think of any other clip from 30 years ago where I think she might have invented this.
She might have. I'd have to really think about it. I mean, I'd have to like do some digging, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
That's your homework for next time you're back.
Okay, yeah.
I want a 10-page report on all comedians that use the and break.
I don't know if this exists, but they need like a library of comedian art sets archive where you could like look up old sets, because we don't really.
I think it's called YouTube.
Yeah, there's stuff on YouTube, but like it'd be great if you could like easily search stuff like with tags and keywords, and like, because I want to know where to start with that, and like
well, venture capitalists out there.
Yeah.
Get it going.
I do comedy. I'm also a writer. I write checks and mostly fiction, of course.
Brilliant.
A lot of mystery. I loved to write when I was growing up. I had a pen pal. I wrote to her once a week for 14 years till she finally wrote back. She said, stop.
So I'm going to stop there because it seemed like she was doing a string of misdirects, which we could explain real fast. That's where you set up one expectation and you completely change what the result is going to be.
Well, and also like the way it works is like an audience member in their head thinks of what they think the punchline is, and they have a word in their head that they're expecting.
Exactly.
And then when you say a different word, it's like literally like a neurological thing in your brain, like the whatever it's called, transducers are like pew pew, and they miss, and so it creates a laugh response.
Yeah. But what she did here was actually wordplay, because it seemed like she was about to do yet another misdirect with the 14 years. And yes, it is technically a misdirect to say until she finally wrote back.
Yeah.
Because we're all thinking 14 years, that's a long, nice relationship. But you weren't thinking that that's where the joke was going to come. So she's actually playing off the fact that 14 years doesn't necessarily mean they're writing back. And it's more like a observation than a true misdirect.
Yeah. And one thing I love also, which is kind of unusual. So she's very self-deprecating, which a lot of comics do, but I feel like there's a sadness to the jokes. And I respect that, because I love sad jokes. Like I feel like I relate to them more. They're more universal truth. And like she's like, all these punchlines are kind of about like her failing or her flaws or shortcomings. And like sometimes it could be really self-deprecating and stuff that, like other people might not want to label themselves as or say about themselves. So like, I kind of love how it just gets sadder and sadder, and like, it's like I love that she embraces it instead of like,
she has that stoic persona of like a mom or grandmom trying to keep it together, like kind of like laughing at it herself, knowing it's killing her inside. So it fits her persona really well, or her POV, so to speak.
Yeah. I really respect that. I think it's cool. Yeah.
Didn't stop me. I should stop eating. I've been eating everything lately. So today, finally, I went running. I had to, because the ice cream truck was going 60. And I needed a lift to the bakery. So I'm at the bakery, right? And I'm standing in line.
Yeah. I was also gonna
there's like, there's also like with absurdism and silliness, like we all know that she probably didn't actually like get a ride to the bakery. Like I feel like, like a lot of comics nowadays, especially, are trying to ground it in truth and don't do a lot of silly stuff. And like, I just love that it's silly and absurdist. Yeah.
So now I'm going to push back on that.
Okay.
As a dork.
Okay, and I'm leaving.
I would argue that she actually did ground it. So another expression I learned, shout out Johnny Schwartzbein. He said you can go to Crazy Town, but you have to take the local, which is a train expression, meaning don't get on the express chain all the way to Crazy Town. Give us steps along the way. Yeah. So she started with the fact that the joke is, I had to run to get ice cream. That's the basic joke.
Yeah.
So we're all like, haha, great. Then she's saying, because the truck was going 60. So she's already made us picture her running after an ice cream truck. Now it's absurd. It's 60. Then she catches it and asks for a ride to the bakery, which is just insane. So she walked us through each grounded step, and we all kind of wish we could do that too. So she's not just coming out of nowhere like, I had to run. The ice cream truck gave me a ride to the bakery. Like, what? What do you mean? Like, she built the story along the way, which is very skillful, I think. And I think sometimes when people talk about grounding, they get confused, thinking that grounding means it has to be true. And I would argue, I could be entirely wrong, that grounding just means it has to start from a place of truth. It doesn't necessarily have to stay true, not a true story.
Maybe, yeah, I could see that. I don't know if it's like a semantic thing, but there's definitely, I like your terminology for that, because I mean, I could see some comics who never cross a certain line, right? Like they wouldn't have that last tag or punchline that takes it to the extreme example, right? Some people, they come up to the line and then they stop, or they go in a different direction. So whatever that is of like embracing the extreme example and going one step further. Yeah.
That's true. Good point.
And this really cute guy is flirting with me. Finally came over, he asked for my number, and I gave it to him, and then I had to take a new one.
Nice misdirect right there.
Hey, stop. And all these jokes are timeless too, right? Like this set is 30 years old, and like nothing seems outdated. I mean, maybe the Ruth Buzzy, like the Buzzy, like some of the
that was a pop culture ref. But you could replace Ruth Buzzy with any currently old celebrity.
Yeah, and like, but I mean, like a lot of this stuff about, you know, like the baker, like the dieting, like all this is kind of timeless.
I mean, I'm actually surprised you can still take a number. You think someone would have made an app for that by now?
Well, I'm like, because friggin' America needs to step up. If you go to Korea, it's like, oh, just have a cyborg drill it into your computer chip brain, you know. Anyways, that's not true. Okay.
Thanks for your sympathy. I know I'm not fat, but I'll always feel that way because since I...
Okay, that, I know we just paused, but that's too good. She goes, thanks for your sympathy, as a throwaway. Like, they're clapping because they love it. And she redirected that energy back to, I suck. She's getting applauded on the Tonight Show and keeps the energy humble. Like, that, I think, might be an overlooked technique. Is she's maintaining her low status so she can continue making jokes.
Well, yeah, and like it's like her character, her persona on stage, right?
Exactly.
Like she's like, even when she like makes the audience laugh, she immediately like throws away that praise and brings it back to the character.
In a way, normally a comedian would go, oh, thank you, and just sit in the applause. She says, thanks for your sympathy, and keeps talking.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I was really little. My parents used to stuff me with like cookies and candy, and I don't think they wanted a daughter. I think they wanted a piñata. I hated that stick, but this is.
I mean, that's pretty dark too, right? That's like child abuse or whatever. But yeah, that's great. I love the. I don't know. We could also talk for 10 minutes about shoulder pads, but I love the the 80s style and stuff. What were you gonna say?
I love. I mean, I don't know if you could do that joke on TV now about hitting your kids, but she made it so innocent and throwaway. Oh,
yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, not that I'm like pro hitting kids, but like, I hope that people understand it's a joke and it's funny. Yeah, I don't know.
I like the candy. This is my first time in LA. I love it. I drove in tonight. I thought it would like hit a lot of traffic, but I only hit like 2 cars.
I actually guessed that one.
I am not a good driver. I perpendicular park. I got into an accident.
I mean, that's just, she's like doing a run where she's just chaining together jokes I think she knows aren't her best, but they're all kind of clever in the same way. Hit traffic. I mean literally hit a car. Perpendicular instead of parallel. So they're like little jokes to keep your brain tittering, and then I bet she's about to build into a big joke. While our brains are on edge already, you get a bigger laugh.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I also like loved about her style. So I don't know what the word is, but she's chaining together one-liners into a story, right? So like
I call it a run.
A run, okay, yeah. That's a good term for it. Because like, you know, a lot of people will tell a story and there's punchlines along the way, but it's different. Like each of these jokes could be its own one-liner standalone.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, easy.
And it's but like she's chaining them in a way that it's like almost sentences in an essay. Like they flow really well, they segue, they paint a picture, and it's going in a direction on the theme. So like, yeah, I think it's really I love that style of like taking one-liners and using them effectively in to be a more storytelling comic.
Yeah. And also they're not lingering on them. It's kind of like when you have that really good laugh with a close friend and you just kind of keep building on the laugh until you can't breathe anymore. I feel like that's what she's like manufacturing a little bit. Like keep us chuckling, and then bam, instead of letting the energy die back down. I'm just guessing. I think she's about to hit a big one though.
Yeah. I'm curious about her laughs per minute. You know, I don't know if like
off the charts.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably much higher because she really like gets so many punchlines in, and like it's
with one of these houses on a truck. Have you seen them? They're trying to move a house. Like, what are these people too lazy to pack?
Told you.
I like that guy.
The house had Christmas lights and a window box. It was coming right at me. I'm flashing my brights, beeping my horn. Nobody was home. So I pulled into the garage. This is great. I wish my boyfriend were here tonight, but I don't know who he is. My last boyfriend and I were totally incompatible. I was a night person. He was married.
That was that exact formula I'm talking about. I was this, something shocking, and then you take a deep breath while everyone catches up. It seems like she's thinking almost. But now I've seen it so many times. I think as a kid, I remember watching it and not knowing that's what she was doing. But now that I've seen like 50 other comics use that technique, I'm really got to give shout out to Wendy Liebman. That's cool that I don't know if she invented it, but she definitely perfected it.
Yeah, she's definitely like helped contribute to the style and make it like show what could be done with it. Yeah, if she didn't invent it, I don't know.
I want to get married because I need new kitchen stuff. So I've been going on dates. My friend set me up on these blind dates. I've been on so many blind dates. I should get a free dog.
Okay, I want to talk about that one. I wasn't going to talk about the joke. I thought it was pretty kind of an obvious one. But look at how long she waited and looked up. She knows when she's done that joke 3,000 times. And this is something a lot of comics don't realize, is you're not just riffing it. You don't just go to 5 open mics and you're ready for your special. She's done that joke 3,000 times, and 2,000 times it got an applause break. And that's how she knows when I'm on the biggest stage in life, Tonight Show, 1991, my big moment, I'm going to just hold. Nobody's laughing. I'm just going to sit right here, and I know it's an applause break.
Yeah, oh my God, having the confidence to sit in silence is like, that's an expert comedian.
Look at that face she's making. Like, yeah, you damn right I know that joke's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Actually, sometimes I do. But dating is so hard. Dating is hard anyway, right? Call me old-fashioned. I like it when a man pays for sex. Anybody else? I shouldn't really joke about sex because it's the 90s. You can get something terminal like a kid. And I don't want a kid. I'm a baby. I can't have a baby. But they don't make effective birth control. They do everything else, though. They put men on the moon. And, maybe that's a good method. But actually...
Classic misdirect, but she got me there.
Yeah.
That's just really funny.
And she's also making it sound very casual, conversational, right?
Yeah.
Like, even though this is all very, very scripted and like memorized and rehearsed. Like, you know, she was like kind of like she committed to the like, oh, maybe like she just had that idea on the spot and made it seem natural. Yeah.
She's also talking about like women being free with their sexuality, which is now is like nothing. But back then in 91 on the Tonight Show, that was a big deal. And she just like keeping that casual tone. She's like making a lot of good points about female empowerment without getting anyone angry.
Carson's probably over there like, oh,
you know, men should be on top. I don't do it.
Where's like 2 Bibles between his ears? I don't know if that's true. I'm sure Carson.
That's definitely not true, but it's a funny image.
Yeah.
My parents are in their 50s and they still have sex because they want grandchildren. I think they need more piñatas. I think I'd be a good mother, maybe.
I guess we'll stop because that was the first callback. We won't have to point out every callback. But a callback is when you reference a joke from earlier on in the set. So she made the joke earlier about how, as a child, her parents treated her like a piñata. So now they're having more kids to have more piñatas. Really not her most clever joke, but it does utilize a new technique.
We definitely need like a sound effect, like call back.
That's it. But, I'm gonna take this clip of us going call back.
Call back.
Yeah.
But it's
wait,
definitely
just say it without me talking over you like an idiot.
Okay. Call back.
There we go. That's the new sound effect.
I'm gonna regret that, I'm sure. But like, so a lot of, you know, like it's a lot of people do callbacks, but I feel like it's easy to forget to add callbacks in, especially in a shorter set, you know. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's easy to edit out or to like forget, like, oh, I should do, like, callbacks are so necessary to like they're like free. It's like a secret sauce that just adds like bonus points to your score.
Although I've seen comics do way too many, thinking it's just funny enough just to mention something earlier.
They weren't listening the first time. They don't care. Yeah.
Shout out to James Mastriani, who taught me this in improv class.
Oh, yeah.
That your callback should be like a superpower in a video game. So you know how like when you're playing a fighting game and you punch, and you slowly build up your super bar. Then when the bar's full, callback.
Oh,
then you can't do it again until the bar's full again, or people will remember it too soon.
Oh, that's a really good way to, good.
Certain comics build up their bar faster than others, but you kind of got to learn what yours is.
Yeah, I love that. And she sprinkled it in just like her throwaway. Like it wasn't like a big, because that she probably could have turned that call back into like an applause break or something, but she kind of strung it along, which is an interesting choice. Mm-hmm.
Someday, maybe a little bit overprotective, like I would never let the kid out of my body. But I don't have a kid, but I do have one of these suction cup cats. You've seen them, right? Actually, it's my cat, Betty. I just found out why cats have whiskers. I didn't know this. It's so they can sense danger that's very close to their face when they're sleeping. And I'm thinking, isn't it a little bit late then? It would be like a truck. Oh, Betty.
That was her first act out, right?
Say what?
That was her first act out in this.
Yeah,
like
I think it was. And it was a pretty light act out at that.
Yeah.
An act out is when you act out the thing you're talking about. I might not have needed an explanation.
No, could you please mansplain?
Yeah, it's like when you move your muscles, it causes the other muscles connected and your hands move like an actor. So it's called an act out.
Whoa, you're blowing my mind here. Yeah. No, but it's also, that's another thing. Like when you helped me direct my special, like I didn't really have many act outs in my hour. Like mostly because I'm lazy and I don't like exercise. You know? But like you helped me add some in, and it really like it just helped change the pace. Like added a more visual element. Like it really just helped like add like a lot to the set. It also made it a little unusable on the album, but it was really glad I put those in there. Yeah.
Well, I didn't say do unfunny jokes while acting out.
That's true. Yeah.
That's not on me.
Well, yeah. You wanna make sure to kind of, I don't know, I mean, maybe you don't, but like it's so interesting to having a video and an album, because it's like some of the visual jokes, like, do you explain what you're doing for the listeners, or maybe it's fine that there's stuff they don't exactly understand fully. I don't know.
I mean, you can do, if you've ever watched George Carlin, have you ever heard of him?
No,
he's a pretty unknown comedian, George Carlin. And he will do the act out with his voice, not his earlier stuff, but later on, like, he'll raise his shoulders as he goes up and then down, and your stuff is here and your stuff is there. Like, he matches his voice to his body, so it actually works on the album and the visual. But I don't really know. I'm sure other comics do it too, but that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. All
right, let's finish off this Wendy Liebman clip.
I just found out why cats drink out of the toilet. My mother told me it's because the water is colder in there. And I'm like, how does my mother know that?
Wow, we had like 2 seconds left.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Final thoughts?
It was kind of interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I keep talking over you.
No, wait. Okay. Yeah.
Wait.
So I don't know if that was like her biggest laugh, like an ending. Like, I don't know if they like, maybe they cut her off, or sometimes it's hard to gauge. Like, I imagine, I've never had a late night spot, but I some people would try to like ramp up and have like a huge moment at the end. That's like, but I don't know. I kind of like, I don't know if you need it. It was a really strong set, and it was people were applauding and laughing. So,
yeah. I mean, that is the thing. The common wisdom that I've always heard going around in all my years is to start with your second best or your best joke, and then end with your second best or your best joke, whichever you didn't use at the beginning.
Yeah.
And like, I've been in contests where they always say that, but then like the winner never does it. On TV sets, it rarely happens. In an hour, it's really hard to do. Generally, you'll just save your like 5-minute closer. But I mean, you do want your closer to be strongest, but you're not necessarily going out at the very end. Like, you want to end strong with a good series of jokes. You don't want to be trying new material at the end. But I don't think it necessarily has to be like the last words out of your mouth are the strength. You just don't want to leave on bad energy.
Yeah, I kind of reject that philosophy. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, I have trouble implementing that into my sets, because like, to me, like, I choose the order of my sets based on other criteria, not like, how I would rate each joke. It's more about like narratively and like,
don't choose jokes for funniness. If you could just cut the funny out of all of your act, like, then it's really powerful.
Yeah.
Maybe cry.
Yeah, well, and also if you want like a little emotional moment or a takeaway, or like some summary, or at the end of a set, like in conclusion, dating is hard. Like,
all the best comedians say in conclusion, and then restate their hypothesis like a second-grade essay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like good sets are essays in some sense, that like you have a point of view and you're trying to convince the audience of something, and maybe there's silly examples, but you kind of get to the point eventually. But you don't have to. Yeah.
That's true. So you want to jump into your clip? Are you ready?
Yeah, I don't know if like now let's see, worst comedy.
Yeah. So everyone watching, Justin is so extremely brave to do this. I can't say I would never do it, because probably in a future episode we'll watch one of my old tapes.
Yeah,
but what he's doing right now is very vulnerable. We're gonna watch one of his earliest tapes back when he started in New York, back in looks like 2011. Oh, so this isn't quite when you started. This is what, 2 years in?
No, what? Like, it was like 4 months in. So
this is fresh.
It was 5 months in. I started in October, and that was in March of the next year. But it's not like I was doing shows every week. Like I'd only done maybe like, I don't know, 10 gigs or something.
Okay, so this is your 11th gig that we're about to watch. So everyone watching that, keep in mind, at the end, I'm gonna play just one of his newer sets from a Zoom contest that he actually won. bragging about him in advance. So let's check you out. Here we go. That's not you.
No, it's not.
All right, let's try again. Hey, vamp for a second.
What is vamping?
Vamp means talk to buy me time to switch.
Oh, I'm thinking of voguing. I'm voguing.
Vogue will work in this case. All right, we got it. Here we go.
God, look at how thin he was.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I'm not going to say why because I think you have a joke about it. So here we go. Justin Matson.
Hey, I'm Justin Matson. I'm from California originally. Moved here to I'm a film studies major because I really want to be a waiter. So hard being a waiter in New York, though. You sometimes have to get an acting gig on side just to make rent. I work with a lot of models. A lot of people don't get they say. Okay, so I don't know how much I should mansplain and how much is obvious, but like
no, I would love to hear what's in your head as the performer because you have the unique insight.
I mean, part of me, I was really in, so I'm in some ways I'm very proud of this set, and in some ways I'm kind of like, oh man, what was I thinking? But I do feel like I'm not like ashamed of it. Like 5 months in, I feel like it was good for the time.
Anything in my first 6 years I hated. So you're very brave for showing a 4-month clip.
Very relatable for sure.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm noticing is there's a few filler words which I would like nowadays I would cut. Like I say a couple times and stuff like that. But I do this thing where I raise my shoulders like when I do a punchline. And it wasn't like a choice or anything, and it wasn't even comedy related. I think I was uncomfortable on stage, and I needed to like get the stress out. It was like just to keep from like caving in or something.
I thought like you had just met Colin Quinn or something, or like some New York comedian was your hero, and you were like, "Yay, shoulder guy!" I'm like looking right at the camera where we paused it, like I own this stage.
It was 100% like body image issues. Like I was insecure with my body, and I felt like I needed to like shake out the tension. And I know it well. And also, that is in the height of my color oath phase, where I wore a specific color of the.
No,
I was a crazy person. No, I still am. For I would say 2 years, I had this. I don't know if this is OCD. Maybe you could get into therapy for me. But I would wear a specific color on each day of the week, and so I could tell that this show was on a Sunday because I'm wearing yellow.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and
I like that, 'cause then you don't have to think about what to wear.
Yeah,
I thought about doing that whole like Steve Jobs thing where you wear just the one outfit every day, so you don't have to think about it. Yeah. But then it's like then you're bland. So doing the 7, that's not as bad as it sounded when you started.
Yeah, I did it. I thought for like as an artist and for design purposes and like celebrating color, and it also was like I have a signature look, but it's like different each time, and I don't have to think about it. It was just like I know what to wear. But it probably was crazy.
I like it. You should go back to it. Lean back into your. No, I like your current thing with the hat.
With the hat, I'm all about hats now.
All about the hat.
Yeah. Can I just say that like most people my age wear hats to hide baldness, and I wear hats to hide luxurious locks.
Like you just want everyone to hate you real fast.
Too much hair.
You son of a goat.
Like
everybody hates you now.
Sorry. Okay.
It's okay. You're great.
It's so easy to be a model. All you gotta do is just walk a few feet and look pretty. When you're 90 pounds and looking off 35 calories a day, that 12 feet is like a pilgrimage to Mecca.
I gotta say, I've never seen you do that much of an act out in like 7 years.
Yeah,
but it's actually good the way you like embodied it there. I like that. You should bring back your act out.
That was an act out. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a strong act out.
Yeah, I like that joke. I'm still proud of it. Yeah. It was
I don't know about the reference of pilgrimage to Mecca, but I like the Lost in the Desert type.
Yeah. Just like that.
Got a big laugh.
So much pressure. You know, I mean, I'm anorexic. I know what you're thinking. No one that fat could be anorexic.
Okay, I haven't watched this whole clip. This is where I stopped watching because I wanted to be surprised when we watch it together. Okay. I love that joke.
Okay, yeah.
It's so funny. You have a new joke which references your previous anorexia, and congratulations for beating that. Everyone at home should look up to you.
Yeah, I won that battle.
Yeah, I love that joke so much too. But this is great. I've never seen a skinny person make a joke about being skinny that didn't make me hate them. But you somehow managed to be likable enough, even being that skinny, to make me be on your side about a skinny joke, which is great.
Yeah, I was a little insecure about this joke because a lot of I had teachers that said not to tell the audience what they're thinking because it's kind of it's kind of like, you know, some people will say early on, like, don't ask questions. Don't do this. And so it's one of those rules is like, don't explain how they should respond to it. Because if it doesn't match up, then like you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. But I think for this one, I broke the rule and I think it worked. You know?
I would love to push back on that. This is fun. Because I would say your joke was based on that. The fact that you're not supposed to, I also would not do that. And I hate when people say, I know what you're thinking. But the joke here is that you're not telling us what we're thinking. You're telling us what you're thinking.
Well, what I think they're thinking because I'm so insecure.
But it's not like obvious. Well, yeah, you can frame it like that. However you want to say it. The point is, you know, we're not thinking that.
Well, actually, I mean, I was literally anorexic, so I think I literally did think they were thinking.
But you say you're anorexic. Oh, but you thought you're interesting. Okay.
It's. I was so when I started doing comedy, I kind of made like a little pact with myself, which was like, I'm never gonna lie on stage, or I think the way I worded it was like, my life is now an open book, and there wasn't gonna be anything I'm not gonna talk about on stage. Right. And like, maybe I don't know if I've fully committed to that, but I think I did a pretty good job. So like, this is like 5 months in, I'm talking about, you know, a very open book, vulnerable things. And like, you know, my body image is something that like, it was a big part of my life, and it comes into a lot of my jokes. And so I literally was like, that joke was kind of a truthful thing about me opening up and how I have body image issues, and I was trying to like convey that in a funny way, but the truth, there's a truth to it, you know.
So that's interesting that you it's not luck because the joke is perfectly written, but it like you kind of stumbled backward into the idea that, you know, we're not doing it because you really did believe it. It's kind of like layers to it, but like, the point remains that it's still not the usual, I know what you're thinking, I look like whatever, and then it's off and your joke sucks and you wasted words.
Yeah.
You need those words, I know what you're thinking, because you're going to tell us what's in your brain.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we're thinking. You're only saying, that's part of the misdirect is I know what you're thinking in this case.
Yeah.
Usually they're really going to try and guess what we're thinking. You're not, and in any rate, whether you thought it or not. And I do relate to that, just to over talk for a minute, because I used to have a joke about being fat, and I could probably do it now. I've got a solid dad bod. But like when I'm in my 20s, I was skinny and I just didn't know. And I still own notthatfat.com. I stopped doing the joke because Jim Gaffigan I could probably still do it. It's close.
You could do it,
and I bought the .com before he did the joke. Yeah. But like I would do the joke, and then like every single show for like 3 years, someone would come up to me and be like, you're not fat. Like not even not that fat. You're just not fat. I'm like, oh, they're so sweet. Thank you. I thought they were just lying to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I understand that like crazy body dysmorphia feeling.
I 100% relate to them because I thought they were just trying to be nice and try to help me, but secretly they were like, you know, really they agreed with me, but they were trying to be nice.
Yeah.
But also, you could never like believe what people tell you after a show.
Yeah.
Like, I had an audience member. I did a joke about Knott's Berry Farm, and literally someone came up to me and they were like, I love jam. like that was her takeaway for the whole set.
You realize that was in the bit about my parents dying. And
yeah.
She's like, yeah, I love jam.
yeah. It was like, It was like I'm getting vulnerable about the death of my dad, and like that's what she's thinking.
Yeah.
Jam. And like, you know, not like I think I think normal like audience members, like they're trying to be nice, they're trying to engage and interact, but like sometimes they say things that like maybe isn't the funny But I kind of love that interaction. Also, this was a bringer show. It was a contest, but like I don't know if I think it was pretty much a bringer. But like I
brought what a bringer is.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Do you want? So a bringer show is like kind of in a showcase style show where they have like a certain number of comics on the lineup, like like 8 or more, as opposed to a typical structure, which is like 3 comics. They usually have lesser known, newer comedians, but each comedian brings a few members of the audience. Like if you each bring 5 people, then you can fill the room with like 25, 100 people or whatever. So it's a way for bookers love it because they can kind of guarantee an audience, and comedians they love it. But the good part is that you can have real audience members and you have a real crowd. And you can get stage time, which you might not be able to get if you're new and starting out and no one knows you. Yeah. But the bad side is that usually the quality isn't there, and
you can do a good bringer. Shout outs Ted Twyman. But it's most bringers. It's kind of, if you say a bringer to someone, that means bad.
Yeah,
show.
There's a bad negativity.
That's why I wanted you to explain it a little, because this one doesn't seem like what you would think of nowadays as a bringer. Like that seems like a hot audience, decent comedians. Yeah,
this was I think there were like 200 people in this room, or maybe 250, and it was a really good show. So yeah, and it was a contest, but so that helped with, like, I brought maybe 30 people. So like the people you're laughing, like I know their names, like, oh, that's my friend Julius, and like like I know, like and my brother's in the audience in there, so it's just interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
I was talking with my friend the other day. He said he's on a diet for beach season. Like I'm from California, like every day is beach season. I was like, you're nervous because you have to look good in July. Like in LA, Beyonce can't put sour cream on a burrito without TMZ blocking photos of her digestive system. It's crazy. A lot of pressure. I mean, I don't like to insult. In California, we do this thing where, whenever we're going to insult someone, we do a really nice disclaimer. And it's like, I love your sister. She is amazing. She's stupid. She needs to die.
Stop there. Oh, did you have something?
Yeah. So if you'd like to cancel me, please, you can find my Twitter at Justin Matson.
What?
I don't know. I feel insecure about that joke. I don't know if it was
because you say bitch.
Yeah, like,
oh goodness.
Well, my mom once asked, like, I didn't hear what you said. What was that punchline? And I was like, oh, you're a stupid bitch, and you need to die.
Obviously, saying something to your mom's face makes it way harder.
Yeah, but like that does help you. Like that might be a good test for like your jokes. Like if you could explain a punchline to your mom without cringing at your humanity, then maybe the joke is good.
I have a rule that I won't do any joke that I wouldn't do to the person the joke is about.
Yeah, that's true. I have that same rule. Yeah, and I lost a lot of jokes. But yeah, for sure. I am. You can tell how nervous I am. Like my mic technique, I'm kind of like pacing away from the mic a lot. It's like a conveyor belt, and I'm just kind of like walking around it. And I keep looking down at the ground because I was
thinking.
I mean, part of it was like, this was, one of the first times I was like in such a big, this is the biggest audience until that point, and maybe since then, but not since then. I've done bigger rooms, but it's 250 like is rare for a lot of smaller shows. I do usually more cozy gigs, but the lights were in my face, and like it was just it was very different. It was I was nervous. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a hot tip.
Okay.
I just created this banner at the bottom.
Hey, there we go. Love it.
Shout out to John Clark. He taught me this acting technique is when you start to do that kind of like wobbly wobble where you can't set your feet, is just stop and think about your left big toe. And that's it. That's the whole trick. There's no like, and then do. You'd be shocked. It just completely roots your body in place so you can deliver your lines like a proper actor. And that was this episode's hot tip. Hot tip.
Hot tip. Like we don't know we do that for everything. But yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think you've told me that before, and that I've definitely done that since then. I think
it's
that's really
13 years. I'm still using it. It's an incredible tip.
Well, also, it's really hard to learn how to work the stage because I feel like when you start out, you're all about just trying to get a laugh and learn the jokes and like rewrite stuff. But, each room has its different layout. Like this was, it was kind of a classic stage, but it wasn't quite a U shape, but like, I think there were people that were a little bit on the sides, and then it was a deep room, and there were some pillars in the back, and there were people behind pillars I couldn't see. And so I felt like I wanted to use the stage. Like it was a really big stage, and I was kind of in the middle for most of it, but I wanted to I don't know if I take the mic out of the stand at all during this set. So, if I were doing this now, I would probably do that.
So much of it is style, though. Like everyone always says, the way to get better at stand-up is to do stand-up. And that's 99% true. Absolutely. Yeah. But like, I'm jealous of people starting now because you can listen to podcasts, you can watch infinite hours on YouTube. Like I had to hang out at the Laugh Factory like every night for years just to watch stand-up. Like you just couldn't find it anywhere. There was no YouTube. I mean, like YouTube existed, but it didn't have people uploading all their clips and specials and stuff. So like you can sit and you can write and you can edit and you could craft a joke and you really can get better that way. The one thing you cannot get better at is working the stage. You don't know what's going to feel good in your body. Like I used to think you had to take the mic stand out. Then I went through like a 3-year phase where I left the mic stand in and I'm 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". So I would pick up the stand with the mic still in it and walk around with it like a microphone stand until I saw Pete Holmes do it. Then I stopped. And then you never want to be a hack even if you thought of it on your own. And then I just can't imagine not taking the mic stand out, the mic out of the stand, place the stand behind you. Please, if anyone's completely new watching this, get the mic stand out of the way. I cannot even tell. Anytime I go to a show to support a buddy with a wife and they don't move the mic stand, she's like, I can't stop looking at the mic stand. Mic stand, if you move the mic stand or leave the mic in the mic stand. But if you're going to take the mic stand out, get rid of that thing. Just like get it as far to the back or side of the stage as you can.
Yeah, I remember making a decision to keep to not take it out of the stand. Like I don't know if it's the right decision, but it was like I was aware, like, I've seen a lot of other comics walking around.
Yeah, you can do that.
I think for me, I was still getting used to like what hand gestures do I do? Like I move my hands a lot in this, and I don't know if it's effective or not. But for me, I think I was just more comfortable planting myself in the middle. And whenever I go to one side of the stage, I'm always insecure about like, am I alienating this half of the room away from me? Like, and so I feel like, I don't know, just it was a choice to like, I'm going to be right in the center, right in the light. And I'm going to focus on my words because I don't want to have to think about other things right now. I'm too new at this, Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to take the mic out of the stand at all. I'm just saying if you're going to get rid of the stand itself, but also you don't have to take the mic out of the stand to own the stage. Like one of my favorite comedians, Ian Bagg, he leaves that stand in there. He leans on it. He puts his foot on it. He barely moves like from there, but he's big and he's looking at every part of the room. He's still owning the stage and controlling the room. So I'm not saying like get out there and prance around like an idiot. I'm just saying make it intentional. Choose which one you're going to do and get rid of the other one.
Love it for sure. Yeah.
Just because I think that might be my number one pet peeve because I've seen like just people doing great jokes and it's just not working because they didn't move the stupid stand.
Yeah. It's not. Actually, but I went to. I'm sorry.
So that's a green thing, right? Where you're distracted by the server.
I literally, my mind went blank.
Yeah.
I had no words, or I did not remember any of my jokes.
I don't
have,
think
in my back pocket, which I'm reaching for now, I have written my set list down.
Nice.
And then I was trying to stall, well, because I was trying to like, do I want to pull out my set list and look at it? That seems like a rookie move. Is there a way I can save this? And so I'm like, I'm about to do a little like crowd work where I like get a cheap laugh as I'm stalling. But yeah,
I mean, I don't know the joke, but if it's crowd work in the moment, it's almost, unless you're being racist or sexist or something, it's really hard to be cheap in the moment.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
you were clearly distracted by that server coming up to the stage and clanking a glass.
It might have been it. I literally, like, at that moment, I can still feel the fear of like, do not remember any words ever written.
I don't think it's a coincidence. That's right as they came. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Joke. Do you have any jokes?
Yeah, that's great. So I was gonna say, like, there's something called a saver line. It doesn't quite apply here. Generally, a saver means a funny thing after a joke bombed, whereas you didn't actually tell a joke, but you're just trying to buy time. I actually don't have a term for that. I just would say being in the moment, maybe stalling, and that you could say at any point when you forget a joke. Anyone have a joke? And it works a little bit better, I think, because the audience knows you're all newer comics. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It might be even funnier if like Bill Burr did that, because you're like, obviously he knows what he's doing. So I think it's just a good joke. I wouldn't call that cheap at all.
It's kind of endearing. Also, like, I don't know if you noticed the pace, but I am like moving very fast, and it was out of nervousness. But I'm like plowing through joke, and like this is the first second where I like stop and I'm in the moment, and I'm like engaging with the room. I'm going off script, and I'm like kind of stopping to look around the room.
I mean, and just so often you can save a moment by being honest. Like, if you honestly were just like, gotta be honest, guys, got distracted.
Yeah.
I have a set list in my back pocket. I'm trying not to look at it because that would be unprofessional. That probably would have gotten a big laugh.
Yeah.
It's so honest, you're letting us in there. And obviously you'd have the cadence and tone, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just come up with something. Yeah, so...
That's great. I'll just come up with something. That's really funny.
Yeah, I remembered my next joke, so I didn't have to use the notes at that time. Oh. I think I do this a couple times, and I eventually do pull out the set list. But at that point, I had remembered my next joke.
I mean, I would say you could still use that now. I don't think that's hacky at all. Because if you forget and you're like, I'll just come up with something, then you pull out your set list where we know you're obviously not coming up with it, and then you put it back. Wait a second and go, oh, I just thought of something.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
That would be really funny.
Yeah.
If you don't use that, I'm stealing it.
Which isn't what it really is. It's called tramp stamp season. You're everywhere. The lower back tattoos, the fat chicks get, and they're always so slutty. And there's never like, it's always like juicy, delicious. Insert coin here. So I want to reclaim tramp stamp. I want to have something, I want it to be called tramp stamp. I think it would be words of inspiration, like respect, sophistication, Harvard law. Really?
So I could see your face grimacing. You would never do a joke like that now. You call it, what is it, fat chicks?
Yeah, I would never.
I've never heard anything like that out of your mouth. Yeah. Insert coins, kind of a cheap joke, but it got a big laugh, and you were in a contest, so go for it. And then I love that at the end, you get the Harvard law stamp.
Well, okay, so one thing you don't know, which so in this contest, it was really close. They measured it by decimals of applause, and we tied. So the guy in second and me tied. So they did a showdown round. And in the showdown round, which I was not prepared for, like I'm like 5 months in, like I did every joke I could think of. And then all of a sudden I have to come up with like a minute. I think they gave it 30 seconds to do a new joke.
Oh, and wow.
So one thing in this joke, I didn't do it here. I had forgotten to do it, or I didn't know where to fit it in. But this is probably overshare. But On my back right now, I had tattooed the word dignity. So I in Sharpie, I had a Tinder date. It wasn't Tinder, it was like OkCupid. But earlier that night, I went on an OkCupid date with someone I barely knew, and I asked, "Hey, here's a Sharpie. Can you write dignity above my back?" So my date very nicely gave me a tramp stamp with the words dignity, or a champ stamp, and so I had that in literally my back pocket, or my lower back pocket, and I didn't know at what point to pull it out, and I have video of the showdown round, but basically in the 30 seconds I like lift my shirt a little and I show off the thing, and I got a big laugh.
Nice.
So it's kind of like a prop comedy, but like
a pre-planned callback to a moment you might not have even used. How did you even know to do that if it wasn't part of your original set?
It was, I think I had planned to show it at some point, and I just didn't know. I don't know if I forgot about it, or if I
hilarious.
Maybe I just didn't know. I didn't actually I had thought of doing that day, but I didn't know how to fit it into my act because I'd never done it before. And so also it's like do I really want to show a tramp stamp right now? It was taking a big risk, and I've never done it before.
It's great. And
so I always had that, and it's interesting. I'm glad I did it because I was able to pull it out and have it as an emergency backup. But it's just so funny that first of all, I did that, and I have my date a speed date, write a thing on my back, and then to never use it. If I hadn't pulled it out, it'd be just all this thing I went through for no reason.
That's amazing. But you won because of it.
Yeah, I think I took a risk and it was worth it.
Funny graduation ceremony, the tattoo artist, okay, here's your diploma. Oh, God, I made it.
An act out.
And you could see there you were trying to walk away, but you realized you didn't have the mic.
Yeah, I wanted to bend over and have him writing a Harvard Law on my back. Yeah. Then I didn't. Nowadays I would pull the mic out and hold it. Yeah.
It's hard sometimes in the city. I'm dating. I do a lot of speed dating. I don't intend to. They're just eager to leave.
Classic misdirect.
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, I'm bisexual. I prefer the term homosexually sexual.
Oh, that joke was in your special. That joke survived the test of time. It's a good one.
Yeah. Some of those jokes were early on that I still use. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. People don't get that. They're like, oh my God, just pick one or the other. You can't pick both. That's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. I mean, first of all, I'll still sleep with women. I just don't think I should have to pay as much.
I don't do that.
You ever satisfying your life when you're negotiating with a hooker? It's look, Shoshana. I loved what you did. You were amazing. You're dirty that she didn't die. So
you're so much sassier and meaner back then.
Yeah, I was new. And also, society's changed in 10 years. I feel like...
I think you could still say that.
Yeah, you probably could, but I wouldn't nowadays. But I've changed as a person too. But that was a callback, and then it's interesting to see how I've changed my material. I'm mostly a clean comic now, and I feel like that is too edgy for me.
$8? Is that oh my God. It's tough sometimes. Oh my God. Okay, how are you doing? When you actually see.
Wait, stop. Okay, so I knew the person sitting there. There was one person one of my friends who came, and I didn't see her. I didn't know if she came or not. And literally, that was the first time I looked up and I saw her. I was like, oh, hey. So that's genuine. It wasn't a bit of oh, I'm gonna pretend I know this person. It's no, oh, that's my friend.
Do you address it? Let's see.
I didn't see that. Yeah, so
kind
of mumble it. You don't really own the moment.
I'm so nervous I'm mumbling, but I said, you're nervous when you see someone in the audience, and you I was kind of narrating what I'm doing right there.
That's good. But yeah, I couldn't hear it. But nowadays, you would murder that moment.
I had a joke here. Oh my god. Oh,
Okay, you saw the moment.
Okay. So I started doing poetry, right?
Did you plan on doing that if you had to go to your set list?
No, I did actually look at my set list because I literally blanked, and I just thought it'd be funny to throw it. Like it was just like, how can I make this more physical and silly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
it wasn't like planned or anything, but I'm glad I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to. Sometimes I'll go to a set list, and I always like to have a joke planned, so that it doesn't feel like it ruins the flow of the show. But it seemed like you were like, oh, if I have to, because you had a stack of papers in there versus one set list. So it was really funny the way you threw it down.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about. I didn't know what a set list was.
Fair enough.
Hey, you know,
right? So I'm gonna. In New York, it's great because there's so many venues to do poetry. The trick is you have to wait for the train doors to lock shut. Please wait 12 minutes while Justin chooses his shitty poems. Yes, I know I'm making it though, because you're a true poet when your suicide notes start to rhyme.
That was great. I'd say owning that energy shift.
Yeah,
that's took me like 2-3 years to learn how to do, where you heard the audience kind of getting sad for you instead of laughing, and you didn't even add a joke or anything. You can laugh. You just admitted like, oh yeah, it's a little awkward. I'm fine with it. You be fine with it.
Yeah. I did. I think I like the way I handled it of like, because I've since probably, like doing suicide jokes can be really like a killer for the energy in the room. And so I've learned how to, and a literal killer.
Yeah.
Oh, got him. But learning how to do like I'm always on this balance of like, is this too sad? Like I need to do a happy joke to calm people down, cheer people up. But yeah.
It's so hard being poor though, like tax season's coming up. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's so confusing, all this math. What's a third of negative 10,000? I'm learning French because I have to flee the country. It's in Canada. I can't afford France.
That's a nice run.
I'm a Canadian poet.
The worst actor.
I should not know this. So I slit my wrist and died. This was supposed to all the boots, no? You guys have been great. I loved you guys so much. You're so amazing.
Woo! That was okay, dude. For 4 months in, that was a fantastic set.
Yeah, I'm really there's things I would change, but I was happy with it at the time. I'm newer and
I would stack that up against a lot of comics just now, like after years of like that was just a solid set. You could cut like 2 jokes and the rest was just killer.
Yeah, I think I don't feel like too cringy about it. I think it was
that's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah. And
maybe I'll be brave enough and show some of my old. I have my first and second ever that I've ever done on tape. And
you have to have me on and we can talk. That'll be a fun switch to see.
Maybe I'll do after a few guests. I'll have like 4 or 5 people on, and you can all rip mine to shreds.
Oh my god, we'll just roast you.
Yeah, just revenge. I mean, you can be a little nice if you want.
We'll call it life ruiners.
And the end is a big suicide joke as I kill myself on stream. Oh, it's okay. You can laugh. That was a callback and a suicide joke.
I did so also in that set you could see like how quickly I ran off the stage. Like I like that I ended a callback that was planned, so it was like I'm gonna have like a little bow at the end of this, and I like the way that I did that. But then I was just like, oh, gotta get off here, and I just ran. Like I didn't even have time to like bow or thank people. I just like see ya. It was kind of
absolutely. I was actually gonna say I like that you did that whole you were wonderful, you were amazing, that kind of setup that you were about to leave. So then even though you left abruptly after that, I didn't think it was like I used to do a thing where I would just be telling joke, and okay, thanks, and then leave.
Yeah.
Or like, thank you, like so quick, and then people wouldn't clap. And then I would like run backstage and be like, I bombed. And they're like, no, they're clapping now, idiot. You like ran out of the room before they thought you were doing a bit because you like ran off stage so fast without saying goodbye.
Yeah. I've done that. Yeah.
It's so brutal. All the lessons you learn. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me, Justin. Anything you'd like to say at the end before I maybe remind them of your website or whatever?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on. It's really interesting to look through that. And I feel like a lot of comedians, like we use these terms, but we don't always agree on the terms, and we don't always we use different terms. And so it's really helpful to like have like a common language as we're discussing these things. And
and there kind of is one. You'll pick it up as you do comedy throughout the years or whatever. And it's weird actually how consistent it is. You very rarely hear the same term, like a different term about the same thing, considering there's no like official book on it or anything.
Well, like for instance, like I don't know if there's a term for like stringing together a series of one-liners into a story. Like, is that's
true?
I wonder if
we should coin it.
We should coin a term from that.
I always call them a run, but and then a runner would be when you bring the same joke back throughout the act.
Wait, what do you define a run as? So like in improv, they would say like beat the heck out of the game, right? Where it's like you have a setup and then you just like punchline. But
I come to think of it, I don't know anyone else that uses the term run, but I refer to it as a run when you're building up jokes aren't as strong. Like you're walking, then you're power walking, and now you're on a run. And then you go joke, bam, and then you like cross the finish line with a big joke.
So it's all about like building the punchlines, like the energy into like a big
until what is the best joke, and those other jokes aren't necessarily worth telling on their own, or they are worth telling, they're chucklers, but because of the rhythm and we'll get in next episode, I'm going to talk about rhythm and cadence and all that. I don't want to add another hour right now, but you can build up to that crescendo that is ultimately an applause break or a huge laugh that you wouldn't have necessarily gotten without going on that run.
Well, so I feel like that would maybe be a little bit different than what I'm thinking, because what I'm thinking is like each individual joke can stand on its own, and maybe not all strong, but like it's not like you're just trying to get to the finish line. It's more of just like weaving one-liners together to like segue,
Well, like the Wendy Liebman one where she does the traffic into perpendicular parking and then the house joke. She knows that house joke is killer.
Yeah.
It's an observation. Everyone relates to it, but it's not really related to her other two jokes.
Okay.
But she knows those other two jokes are chucklers. They're not big jokes. But by doing them connected like that, even though she's kind of building a story, but she could easily do them all separate. Instead, she knows she's building up to that crescendo and it's going to be a big applause break every time instead of 3 individual laughs. That's what I call a run. I don't know if that's different than what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. I think we're very similar. I would say that maybe there's like another term for just a slight variation on a run, So it's like
your homework for next time you're on the show is come up with a term for it. A what? A jog?
I don't know. Like a frolic. I don't know what it is, but it's like I think
a frolic is great.
Like, it's not because it's not always about pacing. Sometimes you don't build up, but
So you're talking about just when it's a story, like Jim Gaffigan does it, where he wants to talk about the one time he ate great bread. He won't just tell you a joke about that bread. He'll tell you 25 jokes about waking up in the morning, going to get the bread. What bread is weird? White bread? There's wheat bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's like a difference between like who's a one-liner comedian, like Stephen Wright or something, maybe like so maybe him versus Stephen Wright. Like it's like it's more like there's more of a narrative and theme, and they're not just random one-liners, but they also kind of progress and escalate in a way that makes them part of a story, So I feel like it's a small variation, but I do feel like there's a difference and not everyone does it. Like, Anthony Jeselnik maybe some of his like longer bits, like maybe do that, like the way he ends his specials, but the majority of the special is not that. It's just like one-liners.
Let's come up with a term. If you're watching this at home and you have an idea, let us know what you think a bunch of connected one-liners that form a story should be called, or maybe there already is a term that we haven't learned in all these years. Make sure to check out Justin Matson at Justin Matson Comedy on Instagram. You can follow me at Full Dork on Instagram, and please hit subscribe, click like, just make our dreams come true. It's all, if you do this, if you click subscribe, 2 people's dreams come true instantly. You don't have that power at any other time in your life, but right now, you can make both our dreams come true.
My dreams have gotten so minute. Like just the smallest success would be amazing. Yeah, please subscribe. Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. So now, thank you again for joining us. I'm going to end with your stand-up clip, but you won't have to sit and watch it. And I'm going to disconnect as well. But the viewers at home can check it out and then go watch your full special. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Hey. After the election coming up, my husband and I were planning like a little getaway. Not like a vacation, like a fleeing. We're fleeing the country. I've been looking, anyone else house hunting for Zoom backgrounds, you know? Going for an open concept, a lot of light, maybe a little bookshelf to like let people think I read. People say really dumb stuff during quarantine. They're like, oh, you can make your own hand sanitizer from home. Do you have 8 gallons of aloe vera? You just take a bushel of lavender and a vat of lye from your garden. Like, I don't even have a Brita filter. I love hearing from all these businesses. I didn't even know we're still in business. I got an email from Radio Shack. Hey guys, we're still open. We got 2 locations in El Segundo. It's real safe. You don't even need a mask. We'll give you a key. You know? We got anything. We wipe down the rotary phone every 20 minutes. We have an 8-bit converter for an RCA adapter. Do you need one? The store's real clean. We haven't had customers. Just pick a time. I'll be there. I live in the storage room. It's easy. When I started doing, when I signed up for Face ID, I was happy. So now every time I want to unlock my phone, I have to pretend I'm like. I've started keeping a food diary, mostly for the autopsy. I just think it'll be so much easier. I think the coroner will appreciate it. Like, oh, well, the toxicology report came back negative, but it says here he had 4 types of custard. Oh. I wasn't always fat. In the past, I've actually struggled with anorexia. Obviously, I won that battle. I'm like over 300 pounds, which for an American is petite. You ever call an ambulance to take you to the gym? You know? You have an emergency? I should have called you months ago. Paramedics pull you in. We need 12 cc's of Gatorade and a tiny towel stat. And on the elliptical. I do a lot of. I have to wear big and tall shirts now, and you only get 2 options when you're fat. There's tropical plants or food. You know, like hibiscus, palm leaves, you know, or pizzas, hamburgers. I once saw a shirt that had pugs on it, but the pug was eating a popsicle. So it's still like when I was thin, I liked solids, and then as soon as you go in weight, they're like, "Oh, that's not gonna do." Do you want a seasonal moo or a Michael Moore shirt? You know. I tried a lot of things to lose weight. I actually saw a nutritionist, but she was skinny, and I don't like skinny nutritionists. They don't get it. They haven't been in the trenches, you know. Like, like I tried to explain how hungry I get, and she was like, "Oh, I was hungry once. I was going through a rough divorce." Like, no, I'm like hungry every day. Oh, have you tried drinking water slowly? In the BuzzFeed listicle, it makes you full. Like, I don't think that works. Like, oh, you gotta have snacks. You ever put 4 almonds in a Ziploc bag? Bury it in the sand, don't tell anyone. Like 4 almonds. I would kill everyone at the beach, you know? Like, I have hunger nightmares, you know? I wake up in the middle of the night, like the curtains are drawn and there's crumbs everywhere. And I don't remember what happened, but the maid's dead. I get jealous of bears, like the animal, because they're so good at everything. They're like fast and they're strong and tall and like, but they're also fast. You know, they're like 800 pounds. And they can outrun a deer. It's like, well, I bet they're like bad at like climbing. Like, oh, you could climb a tree? Like you're 12 feet tall, 800 pounds. You can climb a tree? I don't. How does this happen? You know, they're afraid of something like bees. Like, you love bees? You're there. You love bees, just like getting that honey. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, at least I can ride a bicycle. You can ride a tricycle. You're a bear, and you're riding around a tricycle. I just don't get it. I mean, I like to go to restaurants. You steal picnic baskets every day. It's like crazy. I mean, at least I'm better with like kids. Your favorite childhood toy. You're a bear, and your favorite childhood toy. That's crazy. Well, at least, like, I mean, I could be like a hero. Like, you prevent forest fires. You're a bear, and you prevent forest fires. It's like, well, at least I have like an identity, you know. At least you're like, I'm like a big gay guy. You're also a big gay guy. You're a bear. Go to club. All right, that's my bear bit. I'm bisexual. I prefer homosexually sexual, and no one believes me. It's fine. I get it. Like, my straight friends think I'm gay. My gay friends think I'm fat.